Welcome to Finances with Felton. My name is Jeremy, and today I wanted to talk about debt. As we start the new year in 2024, I hope we can all get out of debt and be in a better place in our own financial lives. People don't realize that there is good and bad debt. So please stick with me. Leave any comments down below. If you have any questions, please ask. Also, please subscribe to my channel and leave me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, let's get into it. As we all know, debt is bad, but I'm going to start with a good debt first. So, what is good debt? Good debt usually involves borrowing funds to invest in assets that have the potential of growth and value or to produce income coming into you for the future. This kind of borrowing is making an investment in securing your own future and that financial stability that everybody wants. And I will give you a couple of examples of that. So, education. Nowadays, the education system is a little flawed, in my own personal opinion, but you will take out loans to get a higher education, which has the potential to give you better jobs, higher paying jobs, and just overall will increase your earning potential and career opportunities. And that is considered to have good debt. It's good debt to go to school and do all that stuff. Real estate is another form of good debt. At least it can be. Mortgages are taken out to purchase properties. I have a house. I bought a house. I have a mortgage on my house. And I hope that this property will increase in value. And in the end, that will give me some type of earnings on my investment. The best value would be if you use it to generate income, if you can do that. That is the best way to use real estate. Again, generating income. That means money's coming into you. If you have a business, you might need a small business loan that will help you grow your business or some type of new thing that is going to bring more customers in or bring more cash flow in somehow, however that will work. You might need that business loan to get you started. But again, that's a good loan because it will eventually give you more customers, generate more income, so on and so forth. Okay, investments. This can be good, but also can be bad. What I mean by that. People used borrowed money to strategically invest in different stocks and bonds and other asset classes with the potential for higher earnings, has to be a higher earning than the rate of which you are borrowing that money. So if you're borrowing something at 5%, you're only making 4%, you're losing. It wouldn't make sense. It is risky. You can't read the future, else you wouldn't be here. So if you are going to borrow money to invest, just know that that comes with a higher amount of risk, and you have to be okay with that. That's a personal decision. I personally do not use borrowed money. I invest my own money, and it's just not something I'm willing to do or want to do. I don't have interest in it. Again, that's a personal thing. It is very risky. So I just want to put that caveat on it. Risky. So what's the key to kind of good debt? Well, everything I just talked about, really, right? You have to manage your debt in a good, positive way. Do something that's going to generate you income, have money coming in. So if you have a job, but then you have a side something coming in, or you have that job and you now have the potential to earn more, again, something that's going to better yourself is a reason to have some type of debt on that, because you are going to make more money, or you are going to be able to start a business or some other aspect of asset coming in rather than having something as a liability like bad debt, which we'll talk about next. Okay. Bad debt. Let's get into some bad debt here. So, borrowing money for any little type of item, as in generally you don't necessarily need it, but you want it. That can be a type of bad debt that often creates financial strain without any benefit to you whatsoever. And it's one of the biggest issues in relationships and families is finances. And it's one of the reasons I started this YouTube channel is because we're not taught in school. They don't talk about this stuff. And it's a big thing in our lives. But, you know, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Those are the things you get to know about. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with knowing history. I think it's very important. But just getting my point across. So, back to it. High interest debt, right? Debt occurred through high interest credit cards for non essential stuff. Dinners and the purse or the video game, you're doing vacations on your credit card. I mean, that's all bad debt, especially if you don't pay off the balance. Now, I've done another video with credit tips and tricks and all that stuff. I'll link it down in the description below if you haven't seen it. Go check it out. But I want you to think about it. You go out for a meal and it's $50. You go to the store, you spend $50 on a game, you spend $50 on a purse, whatever it is, $50. We'll just use the number $50. You got that credit card and you use it, but you get a 29% credit because that's what they are. They charge you a high rate to use their money. So you spend that $50. You don't pay it off right away, and you might have other debt on there also. So maybe you have another $100 on there, maybe you have $1,000 on there, whatever it is. But we're just going to take that $50, right? So that $50, we're just going to round it up, say 30%. You're paying 30% to borrow that money to buy that game, that purse, out to eat. What are you going to do if you don't pay it off in a month? Well, you're going to pay another $15, give or take. So now you just tip the credit card place $15. Plus, if you tip the waitress or you got something else, then you got a Starbucks coffee, Dunkin' Donuts coffee, whatever it is. If you're using your credit cards in the wrong way, you will be in financial ruin. That's what will happen because it will just accumulate and accumulate. And again, it'll dump off on you, gives you strain within your relationships, gives you strain within your personal finances, so on and so forth. So just think about that. That $50 that you spend, if you don't pay it off that month and you wait a whole nother month, they're going to charge you $15 to borrow that $50. So now that $50 purse or that game or that dinner just turned into a $65 meal. And then it just continues to grow and grow and grow. So just think about that. Car loans. While cars are necessary, don't get me wrong, most of us need them to get around. Maybe you live in a big city and you can use public transportation. That is great. But for the most part, people need cars. And cars are not an asset. They are a liability to you. So just remember that. When you buy a new car and you drive it off the lot, that year you're going to lose about 15%. So every year, think about that. 5-year loans, most people get 5 years. And after the end of that 5 years, you are going to only have about 40% of the value of that car, of what you paid for it after 5 years. Again, is that bringing you in money or is it costing you money? It's a liability. So if you think of things like that, it's not the best option. If you want to go get that $50,000, $6,000 car, that is your choice. But a used car gets you from point A to B might be a better option. Just something to think about. I am one of those people. I get it. I have it on both sides. You want a safe and secure car, but you also need a car to go to A and B. So maybe you have a little bit of both. Just something I wanted to put in your brain. We've all seen those other payday loans, the title loans. We've all seen them. There are those commercials, or you see them when you're driving down the road, and they have those different places. So many people get into debt because they use those services, and those are astronomical in the sense of how their interest is, and you will be in debt for life, it seems, when you get into something like that. So do not use those. That is just another way people get some bad debt. It's high interest rate, and it just traps people in these cycles of debt that you cannot get out of. So if you don't have money in a place for a rainy day, start putting away some money. Go back to that. Well, I need that $5, $10 actually now for some of these drinks that they get at Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, and oh, there's that other one too I can't think of. But those types of drinks, like, well, if you took that $10, you just threw it in a bank account, and even if it was just a savings account, you're making barely any money on it, but it's in there, and then you start that way. You say, okay, well, this week I'm not going to get that coffee. I'm going to put that in. Okay. So now start building that up. You have something that you can fall back on. So when that rainy day comes, you don't need to go get that loan, those personal loans, all that type of stuff. You will have something to use when something big comes up. But you have to start somewhere. And again, going back to personal loans, I just said, like, those are usually for unnecessary expenses. If you have to use any of these and it's just something that comes up, I get it. We're all human, things happen. But personal loan is usually for unnecessary expenses. So you're borrowing money for items that you don't need. They don't give you any value in your life. They don't improve your financial situation at anything. It might be a luxury to have, or it might be, um, you know, uh, fixing some of your house. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that you could make that a good debt, but is it something that you need to do? Again, just trying to put this stuff in your brain, so it's something to think about. So essentially, bad debt involves just borrowing money. You're borrowing money from somebody else, and you're going to use it for something that doesn't give you any value back. That is overall what bad debt is, right? So it's not contributing to your financial future. It's not contributing to your potential earnings or growth or anything like that. So just think about that as you are using debt, whether it's good or bad. Think about the consequences of using it and the potential of what it can do for you. If you think about that with most things, you will be able to get yourself in a better light in a financial situation. Now, as we've gone through all this good and bad debt, I just wanted to leave you with something I'm going to show you here in a second, but it's something that personally I've used. It's nothing special that I came up with. I don't even know if I might have saw it. It was a long time ago, as in when I used it. But I was at a point in my life where I was over $20,000 in debt, and I felt like I was drowning. So I needed something to help me. And again, I honestly can't tell you if someone told me this or if I saw it somewhere, but I just wanted to share it here with you of what I used to help me get out of that debt, because it's simple, it's easy, and again, I just wanted to share it with you. Okay, guys. So, what were we looking at here? This is just something I came up with that helped me get out of debt. So, right here, you can see it's simple to do. It's take you 5 minutes to fill this out. Get all your bills, put them on the left hand side here. The highest interest first. You want to get those out of the way. Do the months on the top. If you want to put a total in so you know what the total is, you can do that also. But what you want to do is your highest interest rate. You are going to pay the most you can. These pay the minimums. I get it. I know I said it before. Minimums suck and you're paying a lot of money on the rest of it. But if you're already in super debt, it's not going to really matter. You want to get out of that debt. So you're going to take all of your money minus these minimums, throw it all into this one bill. You're going to pay that bill, and hopefully it's going to go a heck of a lot faster now. And you're going to take all the money that you have at the end of it, and you're going to transfer it to the next bill. You're going to keep the minimum and add whatever money it is. So if you're paying $50, that's the most you could pay, and you're paying $10 on the minimum, you take that 50 and add it to it. Now you're paying 60 on this one, right? So now it goes a lot faster. It expedites that, and you'll pay it off a lot faster. And then to the next one, same thing. Take all the money that you had in there and go to the next one, right? Keep your minimums and add the money on. And then you keep doing it down, down, and down, and down until you get to your last one where you're putting everything you got at it. That way you can get out of debt hopefully sooner. It took me about 2 years to do about $20,000. Yes, it's a lot of money, but I sacrificed a lot. I'm not saying that's for everybody, but again, this was just a quick and easy way to kind of lay things out for you and then just put it all down and start feeding that bear of debt. That way you can get out of debt and then get on to the next part, which is hopefully you start getting some assets, you get in a better place financially for your future. I know that was a lot, but I appreciate you sticking with me. Hopefully, I gave you some ideas and thoughts about how you can either get yourself out of debt or use debt in a positive way. I know that we all know that money does not grow on trees. While I personally believe there is a lot of money out there in abundance, you just have to know how to get it. But I want to know, do you know what tree has the best bark? A dogwood tree.